organization that facilitates.
All employees, lend me your full attention. Kill 3 of your co-workers, or we will kill 6 others. 5, 4.
I'm explaining a film from 2016 titled The Belko Experiment. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. The movie starts with Mike. He is an office worker at Belko Industries. Soldiers check Belko Industrial's employees, and for some reason it is strange how the inspection goes. Some people are confused since there are usually no inspections this extensive and thorough. The Belko Industry is a government-owned non-profit corporation that provides assistance to different South American firms that employ Americans. After finishing their inspections, the workers proceeded about their business, unknowing that they were being observed by an unknown person via monitors. Meanwhile, Danny, a new employee at the company, is trying to connect with 2 of her co-workers, Roberto and Leota. Maybe because they are new employees, Danny's boss always puts more work on her. Seeing this, Roberto and Leota try to cheer her up so she won't be pressured to work at this company. On the other hand, Leandra, who is a beautiful female employee, feels uncomfortable because she is constantly teased by Wendell, her male colleague. A moment later Mike came and tried to cheer her up. It seemed that their relationship was more than just colleagues. They planned to get married, but Leandra had to complete the divorce with her husband first. Mike was on his way to his room when he observed a soldier approaching the old warehouse next to the office. Mike then asked the security guard why the military had arrived, to which the security guard said that it was an order from the head office citing security issues. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, an announcement was delivered over the loudspeaker, stunning everyone on the team. The unidentified voice stated that the employees had 30 minutes to murder at least 2 of them or face serious punishment. At first they thought that it was just a joke, but suddenly all the doors and windows in the building were covered with iron plates, leaving no way out at all. Mike tried to ask Bud and Lonnie, the building's technicians, if they could break through the steel plate. They said that it was impossible considering the plate was very thick. Meanwhile, Barry, the company's chief operating officer or COO, is seeking to comfort his colleagues by reporting that they are being terrorized by hackers. Barry also believed the steel plate was part of the security system, so he told all of his employees to find the steel plate controllers so that everyone could leave the premises. Bud and Lonnie then attempted to perforate the steel plate with an incredibly hot weld, but the weld was unable to pierce it since the plate was not ordinary steel plate. Meanwhile, on the roof of the building, several employees could be seen trying to call the soldiers below, hoping that the soldiers could help them get out of there, but it was in vain, because the soldier just kept quiet while drinking his coffee. Marty, a cafeteria worker, believed that the military may be testing them psychologically. Suddenly, a bullet struck and killed one of the employees. It didn't stop there, the employees proceeded to be shot dead one by one, creating a difficult scenario. When the situation stabilized, Barry went on to examine the deaths of those who had died. They realized that the wounds were caused by their brains bursting, not by gunfire. Mike then remembered the first time he worked at the company, where they had tracking devices attached to the back of their heads. Mike then tried to grasp the device by force, causing a tiny hole in the back of his head, thinking that the device was a bomb planted on purpose by Belko Industries. When Mike had almost finished removing the tracking device, the mystery voice came out again, as if he understood what he was doing and encouraged Mike to stop or otherwise the bomb in his skull would detonate. Then Peggy, the firm's secretary, attempted to sew up Mike's head wound once more. But when Leandra went to the kitchen looking for ice cubes, Wendell followed her to tease. Leandra got annoyed and cursed at him so he wouldn't tease her anymore. Meanwhile Barry approaches Evan, the security guard, hoping he can get the key to the gun storage, but apparently Evan doesn't want to give the key to anyone. The mystery beacon resurfaced a little time later, claiming that there were around 76 people remaining in the building. He demanded that the number be decreased to 46 individuals, otherwise the bombs in each of their heads would be detonated. Hearing this, the employees were even more terrified, and many of them fought with one another since they didn't know what to do. In the midst of the protracted argument, Leandra proposed that they put out a banner appealing for help on top of the building in the hope that someone would see it. But Barry thought that the idea was not effective, so they had to think of another plan that made more sense. Meanwhile, when Bud and Lonnie were in the basement, who knows what happened? Lonnie, who was hysterical with fear, suddenly beat Bud, killing him. Danny, who saw the incident, sought to run but was chased by Lonnie. There was a commotion between them, and Danny accidentally pushed Lonnie's body till it was impaled by a nail, killing him. When Mike and Leandra went to mend the banner, they realized that the welding band that Bud and Lonnie had used had disappeared somewhere. They then proceeded to the armory, where Barry, Wendell, and Terry had already gained entry. Apparently Barry intended to kill around 30 employees to fulfill the requirements put forward by the mysterious voice earlier. However, because Mike did not agree with Barry's crazy plan, he shot the welding gas hose until the welding could no longer be used. Mike and company try to raise a banner over the building, but they are fired upon by soldiers, leaving one of them seriously injured. Then a mysterious voice threatened them that their heads would be blasted off if they did something stupid again. They had no option but to return to the building. Barry ambushes Mike and the others, and they violently take the warehouse key by murdering Evan. Following the successful entry and acquisition of weaponry, Barry assembled his personnel and brought them to the lobby, regardless of who they were or what position they had. Barry explained that if they did not murder up to 30 people, they would die with explosives implanted in their heads, thus they had to employ senior folks in order to keep the young. Barry also intends to kill Mike because he always disobeys their plans. When Terry was about to shoot Mike, Danny managed to turn off the electricity in the building, causing everyone to scatter and run away from there. In the midst of the chaos, Barry ordered Terry and Wendell to kill as many people as possible because there were only 2 minutes left. But unfortunately at the last minute, Barry was only able to kill 29 people, so the mysterious voice had to end the game by activating explosives all over the heads of the employees at Belko Industries. The employees started dying one by one, but when it was Barry and the others' turn, the weird voice indicated that the game will restart in the next half hour, thus they survived for a while. In the game's final levels, the mysterious voice says they should be able to kill each other in an hour. Whoever murders the most people or survives the longest will win the deadly game. Without further ado, they began killing each other, regardless of who they were. When Danny and Roberto were hiding in the elevator, they were met by Barry, who promptly opened fire on them, which was unfortunate for Roberto, whose body was caught in the elevator and killed him instantly. This made Barry trapped in the elevator because Roberto's body was blocking the elevator. While Danny managed to save herself by passing through the iron poles in the elevator's path. Meanwhile, when Leandra caught Marty and other employees doing suspicious things, she asked what they were doing. Apparently they were preparing an explosive device to detonate. Despite the fact that it notifies everyone to her location, Leandra orders Mike to the first floor over the loudspeaker. When Leandra and the others reached the first level, they came upon Wendell and got into a battle. Leandra then informed Mike about the explosives Marty had brought with him, but before they could use them, one of the employees attempted to assault them with a Molotov cocktail, and they were even apprehended by Barry, who had escaped the elevator. Luckily Danny managed to save herself by getting into the elevator, but unfortunately she had to be reunited with Barry, who without hesitation shot her in the head and killed her. Meanwhile, when Mike and Leandra were hiding, Mike realized that Leandra had been shot by Barry. That's why she couldn't last any longer until she finally died. With just Mike and Barry remaining, Mike battles Barry until a one-on-one showdown occurs to determine who will win this deadly game. Mike was first overpowered by Barry's brutal attacks, but he finally killed Barry and won the game. Mike was then brought by the army to an abandoned warehouse as the lone survivor. Mike encountered a man who was behind the megaphone and issuing directions to all staff. This man said that the game is part of an international organization consisting of several leading scientists, who study human behavior from various aspects. Belko Industries itself is a place where they can make these employees as guinea pigs. This is done in order to get maximum experimental results and according to what they want. This man then asked Mike how he felt now. Unexpectedly, Mike even said that he had put some of the explosives he was carrying into the pockets of the soldiers, including the man's pocket. Mike detonated the bombs right away, then snatched the troops' rifles and killed everyone present, including the guy. Even though Mike survives the film, he appears to be unaware that the only game of death he has completed is Season 1. As the video concludes, it appears that Mike will soon be included in Season 2 of the deadly game, competing against other people from across the world who have also completed the dangerous game like himself. That's it for this recap. Don't forget to give a like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support would be appreciated. I hope to see you next time.